Welcome to our podcast, Amplifying Voices and Ideas. Before we begin, we want to ask everyone listening, how many times have you remembered the beginning or ending of a speech more than the middle? Think about it. Today we'll discover why those moments matter so much in public speaking. Many people focus on the body of a speech, but the beginning and ending are often what audience remember the most. Today, we will explore how introduction grab attention and establish credibility, and why strong conclusions reinforce ideas and create a lasting impact.
I actually never thought introduction mattered too much.
Same, but when you think about famous speeches, the opening is usually unforgettable.
So, now that we understand why first impressions matter, let's hear more about how introduction actually capture attention. Nilsa, tell us about it.
Exactly, and grabbing attention is only part of the job. The introduction is the first opportunity to connect with the audience. A good introduction creates interest and encourages people to continue listening. A speaker can attract attention by asking a question, sharing a surprising fact, telling a short story, and using a quote. For example, imagine beginning a speech with have you ever decided within seconds whether someone was worth listening to? That question immediately invites the audience into the conversation. That bring us to another important point, credibility. Leah, can you tell us how speakers build trust with their audience?
Of course, credibility helps the audience feel confident about the speaker. Another important purpose is the introduction is establishing that credibility. Speakers need to show they are informed, experienced, or have a meaningful reason to discuss the topic. These openings demonstrate that introductions are not just formalities, they shape the audience's expectations.
That's so true. And to give us some great examples of this, we are connecting today via video call with our special guest, Maria Angel. Hey Maria Angel, can you hear us?
Hey girls, yes, I can hear you perfectly. I'm so happy to join you today from my computer. Speaking of audience, one famous example is Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, I Have a Dream. His introduction immediately connects with the audience and the purpose of the gathering, creating trust and an emotional connection. Another example is Steve Jobs' Stanford commencement speech, where he opened with, "Today I want to tell you 3 stories for my life." That introduction feels personal and makes listening curious.
Wow, that example really shows how powerful introductions can be. Thank you for sharing that, Mariangel.
That reminds me of another important question. Once you have the audience attention, how do you make sure that they remember your message?
Well, that's where conclusions become essential. Now, let's talk about conclusions. A strong conclusion helps reinforce the message and gives the speech a sense of completion. Good conclusions usually summarize the key idea, inspires reflection, and end with memorable words.
That's true. And conclusion seems to have the same effect as introductions.
Exactly. People often remember the last thing they hear. Returning to Martin Luther King Jr., the repeated phrase, free at last, leaves a powerful emotional impression. A conclusion should never feel abrupt. Instead, it should remind the audience why the message matters.
So, after we discuss today, what can we conclude? Let's check back with Maria Angel before we go. Maria Angel, what's your final take on this?
To conclude, introductions capture attention and establish credibility, while conclusions strengthen ideas and leave lasting impression. The beginning invites people to listen, and the ending determines what they remember. Bye everyone, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Maria Angel. And thank you all for listening to our podcast.
See you next
See
time!
you!
You get the best.